and welcome to Show and Sell, the show that celebrates digging through other people's trash.
Trash!
Yay, trash! Hello,
Joe and I
everyone.
need to get our choreo down.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
We
I'll
gotta
text you later.
sway more in time. But I am Chris. I'm Trash Dragon of the West. This is my guitar, Mr. Blankenship. What's that, Mr. Blankenship? Oh, I sell media on eBay and Discogs. And Katie, what about you? Tell us all about yourself.
Oh, I'm Katie. I'm the Trash Dragon of the South, and I sell clothing and accessories mainly, and I collect a lot more than I sell. Try not to do that, kids at home, but it happens. And so I pretty much collect anything that catches my eye, anything interesting, anything that strikes me as funny, and anything sparkly. Who are you?
Why, me? I'm Trash Dragon of the East, Joe. Boo, boo, boo. And I sell a little bit of everything. What did I sell? What did I ship off today? Oh, today it was a dead stock Fender amplifier strap, leather strap in brown.
So let's do the thing that brought us joy, that segment.
The thing that brought you joy.
All right, I'll start if I may.
Well, yeah, please.
May I? So I haven't been going. I've been kind of trying to get rid of a lot of stuff in the house, so I haven't been going out so much. But I did have it's funny because I'll be like, I bought this. When did I get this? And
love that.
The thing I found that brought me joy was, I'll show you the. Oh, that mirror is gonna be the death of me. So I bought this. I found this, which is a Christmas themed. It was it's basically it's supposed to be full of Christmas cards, but it's not. What it's full of is
baloney,
paper dolls.
The old vintage paper dolls, I assume.
Old vintage paper dolls, including something that also paper dolls and some amazing envelopes. I always love finding envelopes that have kid writing on them. So it's like, bride. Bride is named Diana or Sue. Then there's has a dress on it, so we won't show that. Flower girl named Holly, and stuff like that.
Oh, so it is a young girl who's planning out her wedding invitations already?
It's also had some really cool dolls that included Nancy and Little Lulu paper dolls, which I didn't know they made. I love Nancy. I like Little Lulu. Okay. They both had kind of portly. Sidekicks. Tubby in the case of Little Lulu, and Sluggo in the case of Nancy.
Right.
Sluggo,
yeah.
And it also had this Peppermint Patty card that says, "Okay, I'll go to kindergarten, but I won't learn Latin." And it looks like I think it was cut out of like a cereal box or like a Hostess Twinkies box or something like that, because you could see the very faint traces of a dotted line at the top. And I love
amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a date on that?
There, 1970 it says. Although it's interesting because a lot of Peanuts stuff will be dated 1956 because that was when that was when Charles Schulz started it, and that's when he first copyrighted it. So
I had this probably explains a lot about me, but I had a crush on both Peppermint Patty and Marcy as a child.
I love that. I love everything about that. Also, we're gonna do Snoopy as an unearthed treasure one of these times.
Oh my god!
My favorite weird Peanuts character is Spike, Snoopy's brother, who lives out in the desert.
With the kind of hippie. Needles. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah. And when we drove through Needles, Arizona, I was just like, "This is where Spike's from."
I said the same thing, and everyone's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Everyone just assumes it's your drug dealer." No, get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah,
I always just love that he was always going to Petaluma, and Snoopy's response was Petaluma. It's just it's a funny word.
Isn't that where they grew up, Petaluma? Isn't that where Charles Schulz grew up? I know, there's a museum there.
He grew up in St. Paul.
Right.
And then moved. In fact, my old landlord studied art in Minneapolis and Charles Schultz is one of his instructors.
Right.
In fact, his diploma is signed by Charles Schultz, which is pretty freaking rad. I kind of wish I had.
Come on.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
Katie, what brought you joy?
I'm changing my answer.
Okay.
You go on. My item will be shortly coming to me because it's something that brings me joy, but it's based on our conversation. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine. So I will. So this is more the joy, kind of like it's less about the item, but more about the kind of overall concept, which is so this is a copy of The Body Keeps the Score, a book, a self-help book about the healing of trauma and how trauma stays in your body. And it's a book I've been meaning to read for a while, and I found a fresh, no, look at that spine, beautiful copy. I think $1. And so the thing is about thrifting is you never want for self-help books. They're always there. And at one point, I've got like a stack of them that I was just like, oh, I always kind of want to read that, put it aside, and. So I've been on a healing journey for a while.
Do you like that book? Do you recommend it?
I've just started. I'm about 2 or 3 chapters in, although our mutual friend Remy would recommend it. She's the one who kind of reminded me, oh, you should read that, because she's a big fan.
So I have loved Peanuts since it was the first thing probably that I loved. And so I had a Peanuts trivia book, and I would make people quiz me. I was very intense about it. I really, really like the whole Peanuts gang.
But as a general rule, you've kind of settled down and have been less intense, I would assume.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I get very excited when I find out other people know about Peanuts. And so one of my favorite storylines is the Daisy Hill Puppy Farm where Snoopy was born.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoopy had quite a few brothers and sisters, but Spike is the most famous. He has Belle, his sister, but a lesser known one, but one that's always there is actually Olaf.
Olaf! Oh, wow.
Man. And so he's sort of a
wow, way to pull that out of my memory banks. Wow, that is insane.
Isn't that crazy? When I saw him, now there is a very odd Snoopy themed park in Allentown, Pennsylvania, or near there. No, it is in Allentown. And they have a store with a bunch of stuff. And I'd never seen an Olaf before. And I made a beeline because I saw there were all the characters. And then I said, there's no way, because I didn't even know they made a plush of Olaf. And he is, he's just real good, right?
That's as far I'm not super into plush toys, but just that there's an Olaf. I would be blown away if there was a Spike plush doll. That would be exciting.
There was, and had I known you at the time, I would have got it for you.
Thank you.
But I just couldn't. And that his shirt's a little short. He's having, it's just, he brings me joy every day. Right. I really like it.
And you can tell that Charles Schultz grew up in Minnesota because all of the Snoopy is a very Dutch name. Vicky, my ex best friend, married a Dutchman, and he insisted that they call their dog Snoopy, but it was spelled Snopie. So it looked like snow pie, and he was like, "Oh, Snoopy," and I was just like, "You not know that's a very common and famous name for a dog?" He's like, the Netherlands, it is very popular dog name, and I'm just like, okay.
Which, by the way, ties completely into my unearthed treasure of the week.
Exactly, that's that Olaf
which is Dutch.
Okay,
so, that is shocking. Yeah.
Okay, I want to pop some Peanuts trivia though. You ready?
Yeah.
Who was Linus and Lucy's little sibling?
Rerun.
Damn. All right. Well, so
name.
What's that?
What
is their last name?
Van Pelt.
There you go.
Okay.
What did Sally call Linus?
My sweet babu.
Hey! Ding, 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 ding. We need a bell. We did good.
Because, Vicky
we got to
used,
do a Peanuts episode. It's going to be great.
Vicky used to call me my sweet babu, and then I would do Linus's line, "I'm not your sweet babu,"
I'm not
and then
your
she would.
sweet babu.
Then she would get all hurt, and she'd be like, "You're not." I'm like, come on. We're either doing a bit or we're not.
You're doing the bit. You're doing the bit.
Let us do our next segment, which we have called Unearthed Treasure, which I'm hoping to have a title card for.
Unearthed treasure.
So this time, we decided to do maps. And Joe, why don't you show us your Unearthed Treasure?
Well, I've been doing really well with maps lately. Like just literally with maps at the consignment shop that I an antique mall that I'm at. I had what's that?
Like they sell selling maps?
Yes, but I also have a mom who loves projects, which we'll bring up again next segment. But she's like, one of the things she likes to do is framing, and so I had this 1914 map of Brooklyn. I had this book that was called The Problem, like Greater New York and Its Problems, and it had like had a little tip-in folder or like envelope with like 3 maps in it, and one of them was a map of Brooklyn from 1914. So I had that framed, and I sold it for $300. And then I had a map.
People in Brooklyn love Brooklyn.
People in Brooklyn love Brooklyn.
Or people that used to live in Brooklyn still love Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also I had a map of my current town. I had a map of Kingston, which is not my current town, but like close to my current town. And people in Kingston feel the same way about Kingston. It's very like it is a very. So I wish I had framed that, but instead I just sold it for like $10 or whatever. But but then I also had a map of the Catskills that sold for $125.
Wow.
And it was framed. And I'm trying to figure out if I should have this framed, the Adirondack Central Mountains map. It is, as you can see, quite large. And it's like
wow.
It's a topographical map. And it's it's okay. I don't love this map as much. Ooh, that mirror. I don't love this as much as I love the other maps I got, but it's still it's a still pretty good map, and
Right.
I don't know if it's a little bit too big to have it framed, in a responsible way. That would just be too much of a project, I think. So
I do always pick up maps that are like specialty, like, or kind of books that have specialty maps. Like I know I've sold like, gold mines of California or gold places where they found gold. And it's a book, but they'll have maps of the different areas. And like, just because usually those are like self or small batch published for very specific collectors. And those collectors still exist. It's just that's harder and harder to find actual books of those kind of things because everything's online. Anyway, sorry, did I interrupt you, Joe? Or?
No. I was just thinking, I was like, that just jogged my brain a little bit. And I think what I might try to do is like, see if I can find online any like maps of amusement parks, because
yeah.
I think that would be good if I could like find some old amusement park maps and
totally, because those are very visceral. Like I used to go to Six Flags in Gurnee all the time as a kid, and seeing that map would probably bring back a lot of memories and in a very profound way, I think.
Oh yeah, and
that's a great idea.
There was a comment on one of Chuck Bryant. Chuck Bryant is the co-host and creator of Stuff You Should Know, and on his Instagram, somebody was like, "Oh, I was happy to see this thing on maps. I create as my job because I make amusement park maps." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" I did not reach out to him, but I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool." So now I might have to go through and like, he also is, because he's a semi-famous person, has like hundreds of responses to his Instagram posts. So I'll have to figure out which post it was, and then scroll through everything until I find that guy. Anyway.
So what I have is, so this was part of the ephemera find that I like. So this is an inside San Francisco and the Bay Area. And this would probably be a good thing for you to frame, just because I think it's really cool.
That's
So
that's
there's like kind of like a couple different maps of like San Francisco, a kind of wider. This is the East Bay maps, and this is San Francisco and the surrounding area. But then this is the kind of like downtown map that you can see, and kind of like looks drawn, hand drawn. And then it just like like around here, it's just like all the old restaurants. I've been trying to figure out how to like date these because I'm sure some of these die, like. But
is there
there's
a
like
date on the map? Is there a copyright on the map?
I haven't seen one.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't, because like with specialty maps like that,
I just found it now. It's 1954 by Don Bloodgood.
oh wow,
I think that's valuable.
It might be. I'm going to, but they have, uh, some of the restaurants are like Place Pigalle, the French for French Parisian food, but the French restaurant is Ritz Old Poodle Dog. And let's see, there's a Swedish restaurant, there was a Armenian restaurant, and you also know it was the 50s because people don't write the word Oriental all that much. Although, like one of the there's a store in Wisconsin, like a food store around the Green Bay area that I remember going into, and they were like the sign, like how they have, pasta, pizza, like they'll have the signs so you can just look down the aisle and know what you're in. And one of them is like Oriental foods, and I'm like, you guys, you gotta stop.
no.
Like this, because it's all. I think it's basically done by Bernstein's clam chowder, so you can kind of see this here, like there's a little thing, but then because also when you go to this part, like Bernstein's is like circled, and kind of highlighted and has the biggest text.
All roads lead to Bernstein's clam chowder.
Interesting.
And it's also kind of it's Bernstein's fish grotto.
Bernstein's made the map.
Yeah, I think so. But it's weird that they put a bunch of other restaurants in there. I think they were just like, well, we want this to be youthful, but it feels like
we
no
want
company
it to be
now
fair,
would be like,
we're going to definitely make sure that Bernstein's is featured. That's great.
But you can miss it to some degree. On the back there's the favorites on the captain's dinner: stuffed lobster princess, which is baked lobster meat, heart of artichoke, fresh mushrooms, green pepper, sherry wine. Like cherry wine adds a piquant touch. So that is my map.
Can I add? I'm sorry, I want to backtrack a little bit because
Sure.
Something you said reminded me of another. Like, I evoked my old landlord Paul Cahoot, rest in peace, earlier, and when he passed, he had people like his niece his niece came and started like clearing a bunch of stuff out, and they had all these like sort of sacks of recycling, and I was like. Well, I was the only person living in the building at the time, so I was like, well, nobody's going to notice if I go through through this garbage. And so I found a handful of maps, like I think it was 2 or 3 transit, like New York transit maps from the 1970s that are famously designed by Massimo Vignelli. He was like an Italian designer, and they're also kind of famous because they look great. And they were sort of incomprehensible to a lot of people. So
I love that.
I gave one away and sold another one. Gave one away to my friend Marianne.
But Katie, what you got?
So this was really a lot. I've been going back and forth with Chris on, I don't have maps. This is one thing. And like, it's not that I don't have maps. You really tried to help me out and are like, well, anything that could be like providing direction. No. Which is wild if you were to see how much just stuff I have, like just items, different kinds of items. It's just not something that I've collected or kept. Yeah. So I don't have anything. So Oliver and I today had a very eventful, we went to a salvage yard, which I had only heard about, but hadn't been to in Nashville yet. It is all new. So it's just like building supplies and stuff like that. There was nothing old there. It was a good salvage yard though. It was pretty good. It's a little overpriced, but then some stuff was like, okay, they don't know how to price this. So it's good.
That's what you want.
But we probably spent a good 3 hours trying to figure out what I had that could be considered a map. I even looked up acronyms for map to see if there was something I could be sort of sneaky. No. Turns out Oliver has a box in the garage called Oliver's Memories. And I said, do you have something in there? And he goes, I don't know. And he started to open it. And he's like, oh, there is a map in one of these. And it's his baby book. Now, Oliver was born in Amsterdam. So we have this lovely transit map from Holland.
Wow.
From 1982, April 1982. And here's
that's so
here's
cool.
Holland. Hilariously, it's all in English. So this is for American visitors.
All right, we're at our third and final segment, and which is called, Joe?
Tales from the Flypt.
Tales from the Flypt. Tales from the Flypt.
So this topic is, how far would you go to get something fixed? And I will go with Katie because this is Joe's idea, and he can go last. So, Katie, how far would you go to get something fixed?
It's
too
fair.
far. Way too far. I would go way too far because I've definitely spent more than I ended up selling the item for. Because with clothing, it's hard. Clothing, you think like something has a little stain, and then that little stain turns out to be an ungettable stain. Or if you buy leather that's not in perfect condition, I've done this like 3 or 4 times with leather specifically. That has to go to a specialist leather cleaner unless you're very good at cleaning leather of spots yourself. And so it's just sometimes if I'm buying the item at a higher price, like let's say the thrift store knows that the item is leather, and so they price it at $35 instead of $7 or what have you, then I'm definitely spending at least $25 to have that cleaned. So then you're already up to $60, right? At that point.
Yeah.
And the chance, unless it's just a designer piece, that I'm selling that for $60 online on any platform is low. So I've lost money. And then there's been a couple times that I've bought something that I knew was trashed. And so instead of fixing it, I thought I could repurpose it. For example, I have 2 vintage Emilio Pucci shirts.
Oh, wow.
That are lovely, but just completely unrecognizable as shirts because of the amount of damage to them. And I'm like, oh, I'll make wrist cuffs. I'll make bracelets. I'm overestimating my talent for any kind of jewelry making. So they are still sitting. I have them in just a cheesecloth bag. Just someday, I can't bear to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd go really far to get something fixed. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I don't foresee that changing now. Chris, are you the same, or are you better?
The exact opposite.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I have one of the gifts of therapy has been recognizing who I am rather than who I want to be. And who I want to be is someone who will go and get stuff done and get stuff fixed. And like, I've got a great pair of shoes. It's like $150 pair of shoes that I wore to death. Like, the soles are, worn out, like uneven, flat. Like, so any sort of slick, you just eat it, but I love the shoes, and I think I could probably get them fixed, and there's a cobbler somewhat nearby, and I just never bring them in to get them fixed. And this is for me, and this is the only pair of shoes I've ever gotten complimented on in my life, honest to God. And and I got them multiple compliments. And I was just like, I should have them redone, but buying something for $15 and being like, I beat the system, and then spending $25 to $50 to get them repurposed, even though I do love them and they're very comfortable. But yeah, I
it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts every time. Yeah. I have to work on that. That's amazing. That sounds like a glorious life.
Yeah. The most repair I'll do is on like a record, where I will, with dirt, you can use wood glue. You basically spread wood glue all over it evenly, let it dry, and then you peel off the wood glue, and it just pulls up all the all the dirt and grime, and it can make a very good record sound very good plus. Like it can go up a level. It's pretty magic. Anyway, so yeah, I barely, if ever, repair anything.
Tell me Joe's like me. Joe, do you try to?
I am terrified of failing, but I will take a lot of things. I will try to set aside a lot of stuff to repair and repair a lot of stuff. Because I'm always like, if I get this wrong, it's gonna be ruined. But I'll buy furniture that needs like a little bit of work. I don't have a workshop. I don't have space to have a workshop. I don't have any power tools. But I do have a father who has a wood shop and is also just like he's a 5D like problem solver when it comes to stuff to jerry rigging. The stuff I've been doing lately has been like I kind of got obsessed with ceramic stuff. Like I have these. Here's like as you can tell, I have a salt and pepper shaker that chick salt and pepper shaker. As you can see, the eyes are a little bit weird looking.
Are those ducks or My Little Ponies?
They are ducks or chicks.
Okay.
And I tried to paint the eyes back on, and it just kind of looks a little bit weird. So that part was a failure, but this is a little bit chipped down there. Same with this little horse head bookend. It's got a chip there.
Yeah.
It's got a chip there. But what I found was a great thing. This is not a spot. We're not sponsored, by the way, yet. It's called Epoxy Sculpt. APOXIE Sculpt. And it comes in 2 little containers. You take out equal parts, 1 pinch from the black, 1 pinch from the white. You like knead it together for 2 minutes, and then you can push it into place, sort of like smooth it out with like water, like wet your fingertip and smooth it out, like sculpt it as you want, and it'll dry and harden and affix itself to in place. So
are you doing a mold? How are you doing a mold if it's like the tip of an ear? How are you molding it into a tip?
I'm just sort of doing it with my fingers.
You're just sort of making it into the shape it needs to be. Okay, cool.
I also I bought this the way it was at a thrift store in Pennsylvania. It's a adorable like mother or father and little daughter. The daughter's reaching for the father.
Trying to get money out of his nose.
But he's missing a hand. Oh no.
Oh, no.
So what I did was
Is it a giant hand?
Hook.
Giant hand. Is it a hook? It is a hook.
There's a little bit of finessing that needs to be done, but I did this. So it's a
very good.
A tentacle.
I would buy that if I saw that. I would buy that. I'm your customer.
This is just us like making deals with each other, just
sending
things back and forth.
That's amazing. No, and actually, that sort of repurposing is the best. Like, that's the best.
That is
when
great.
It, like becomes something. What I learned to do when I couldn't when I didn't want to spend any money to take it to a leather cleaner, like I learned my lesson on all leather pieces that had spots. I learned how to paint leather. And I bought like a set of leather paints, and then I mix them and paint jackets now.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I've only done it twice, and I have a bin of jackets that need to be painted. But I have great plans for them. They're going to be beautiful.
Yeah, they're going to be perfect. One day.
I love that you're doing it, and I love that you're being clever. That's amazing.
Got an idea? Hear me out. With these leather painting?
Yeah.
The Misfits skull on every single one of them.
Yeah, I could do that.
Well, I think we did it, guys. Another episode, A++ gold stars, and Olafs, 5 Olafs, and
chicks.
And I don't have anything near me except for these these things that you connect devices.
Cute. I'm just kidding.
Brother, you need some whimsy in your life.
I know.
Draw a face on that, quick.
This is Apple. It's anti-whimsy. This is deadly serious.
This is about design.
The future of design, and ripping off customers by changing the UCB thing and making people buy $20 plugs to do it. Anyway, capitalism. Anyway.
No.
We did it.
Do you have the theme, Chris? Do you have this music sting?
We have our music sting, and we're gonna all say goodbye in trash.
Flash.
Hey, thanks for coming, everybody.
Don't you see the difference in the difference that you make from the cops that you punch in the names that you take? You got ladies and bees all giving you honey, and you whack more balls in the color of money. You know Melissa Cherry doesn't do porn. To get funky and do the popcorn, eat your pops from China. Also they say you're